There's books about babies, there's books about ladies, and there's even books about folks pushing up daisies. This book's about a donkey. It is kinda chonky. There's a book about any old how. Matter of fact, I got one now. There's books about ghosts, books that arrive in the post. There's even books best read with toast. This book's about a trans girl. Go on, give it a burl. Some books are asunder, and they come from down under. A thirst for knowledge needs a big old book, and the best old books are Australian. Hello, welcome back to year 2 of Straya September. This is a readathon where we read Aussie books in the month of September. If you want the word Australia explained to you, it's simple. We just cannot be asked saying all them extra letters in Australia like the posh hoi polloi do with their embezzlement, their posh cars, casual racism, and their Hillsong. This is really a very simple readathon for those of you who want an excuse to read a bunch of books from Australia. There are 6 prompts. I've kept a few from last year and added in a few new ones too, just to keep you on your toes. The first 3 are very broad and the last 3 are very pliable. But to participate, you only need to read one book and do the first prompt. And you can do that as many times as you like. It doesn't even need to be in September. I mean, probably should be in September, but I'm not going to complain if you read an Aussie book at any time of the year. Prompt 1. Read a book by an Aussie author. That's it. If you read books and you want to join in this readathon, chances are you got to achieve this no matter what you do. The point of this readathon is to celebrate Aussie books and Aussie authors and to get a few people discussing some of the excellent authors we have in this country. So this is an easy prompt to follow. Now, for those of you who would like a little bit more structure, I have 5 other prompts for you. The second one is Deadly Books. Read a book by an Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander author. Many of our best authors fit into this category. Alexis Wright, Melissa Lukashenko, Anita Hess, Tony Birch, Ruth Pascoe, Tara June Winch, Claire Coleman. And these are just the authors off the top of my head with no research. You really will not have any trouble finding quality authors to fit this category. Prompt number 3 is Migrant Voices. Australia has a long history of migrants coming here and adding to our culture. Personally speaking, in just the last week, I have spoken to Australians from all sorts of backgrounds, including Vietnamese, Chinese, Sri Lankan, Indian, Greek, Italian, Lebanese, and Sudanese. And that is just the tip of the iceberg in this country. For this challenge, I just want you to read a book that broadly fits into this category. It can be a book about migration, a book about migrants, or by the children of migrants. One such fantastic example that fits in this category is the new novel from Miles Franklin winner Shankari Chandra, Safe Haven. Although I think her Miles Franklin award-winning novel Chai Time at Cinnamon Gardens would also fit perfectly. For the next 3 prompts, I've picked broad topics and issues that are fairly Australian. You can go very political with these issues, or you can go for something lighter. The choice is really yours. There is quite a large scope, and it shouldn't be too hard to find a book to fit into these categories, no matter what you like to read. Prompt number 4, Boats and Sea. Every Aussie out there knows the meaning of a pretty obscure word, girt. It is in the first verse of our national anthem, and thank goodness it's not in the second verse of our national anthem because we wouldn't have a clue what it means. Our land is girt by sea, and resultingly, many Australian migrants have arrived via boat, and that has always brought with it its fair share of controversy, be it the migration at the end of the 1700s or the more modern time boat arrivals. And on the themes of the sea, there are stacks of Aussie novels set on the beach. Over 90% of Australia lives within a 1-hour drive of the beach. We are a very coastal population, mostly because in the middle of this country is a very, very hot desert. But there should be no shortage of books on this topic. But that brings us to prompt 5, heat, fire and desert. Almost all of Australia is either desert or has a risk of a bushfire. And for the small fraction of Australia that is tropical rainforest and has neither, is really very hot there. Bushfires really lean into this global warming topic as well. The knowledge that we have around fighting them is fiercely debated. The Aboriginals used to burn the countryside too, and they have all this knowledge gathered from years of experience of when to burn and what plants grow back and what to burn and all of this sort of stuff. And fire, just in general, is a very complex issue. It's a very emotional issue. People lose houses, people lose loved ones. It is a huge issue. Look, if fire isn't your thing, there's still the desert. And if you can't find an Aussie book set in the outback, then you just aren't trying. And lastly, the sixth prompt is 2 or second. As this is the second year of running Straya September, read something to do with the number 2 or with second. It could be the second book in a series or the second book written by an author. It could be your second time reading an author. Or you could start reading a book on the second of the month. You could read a book in 2 days, or you could read 2 books by the same author, or 2 books on the same topic, a book with 2 in the title. Or you can do something no Aussie has ever done before and look up the words to the second verse of Advanced Australia Fair, because we don't know it. Look, the first 3 prompts of this readathon are about reading a range of voices, but the aim of these last 3 prompts are to give you something a little bit fun, a little bit silly to go on with. So don't get too caught up in the rules around them. I'd really just prefer you to have a little bit more fun and read something that excites you rather than filling in a prompt. Do as best as you can, but remember, it's about reading Aussie books and having fun. Beyond that, I don't really care. Now, if you're a fellow booktuber and you're going to make a video on this, maybe you're going to make a TBR or your favourite Aussie books, just use the hashtag Straya September 2 and I will create a playlist. And for all of you who are interested, who didn't grow up with VV advertisements, I'll leave a link to the ad in the description so you can appreciate the parody at the beginning of this video. I'd like to thank my wonderful patrons for all of their support. You can join us on Patreon if you so wish. Happy reading. Bye bye.